Hey guys, it's Targon here doing another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today I am going to go over how to pick up a Fragment Fusion champion when you are early game. Alright? So if you're one of those people where you're like, oh man, I'm relatively new, I'd really love to pick up one of these champions, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. This is for people who've been playing a long time or who spend a lot of money on the game. Stop telling yourself that. It can be done early on. It can actually be easier for the fragments, all right? Not for a standard fusion like we just had with Helikath, but for the fragment champions, there's a secret to get to winning these champions when you're early game, all right? And the secret is winning the tournaments, all right? So whenever we do a fusion event, there's usually at least like 7 or 8 sometimes even more tournaments, right? And each of those tournaments, when it's fragments, you can usually pick up 5 fragments by just completing tournament objectives. And then you can also pick up 5 fragments by winning the tournament. Now, when you're mid-game, late game, end game, I don't recommend basing your strategy on winning a bunch of tournaments. But when you're early game, it's a lot easier. So let me show you. And we just had a Fire Night tournament finish up here. And to be honest, I didn't even look at it on this account. This is my 3rd account that I'm on right now. I didn't even look at it until this morning when there was about an hour left to go. And I realized, oh, nobody's done this. I can pick up some nice goodies. So I went in and I got this, right? Now, usually the fragments, the 5 fragments that you're going to be going for that are guaranteed are going to be, I think, usually this tier here, second from the top. Some of them, I think maybe for like the champion training tournament and maybe for the summon rush tournament or the champion chase tournament, you can get fragments even lower. So those are 5 guaranteed, but usually if you get one of the top 2 spots, you can pick up 5 fragments more. Okay, so we've got, for every fusion, there's always going to be a champion training tournament. There's going to be a champion chase tournament that you get by picking up extra champions. And there's going to be 1 for each dungeon. So 4 for the dungeons: Spider, Dragon, Fire Knight, Ice Golem. So that's 6 right there. And then usually there's 2, sometimes even 3 arena tournaments. Now, winning the champion chase might be more difficult because if you're low on shards, you might not be able to win the champion chase tournament. But the other ones are a lot easier to do. Especially if you have an okay arena team. But like a lot of times you're going to be going up against a field like this, and you see like none of these guys, like this guy here, didn't even get close. He didn't even get to the 3rd objective. So, and you've got several days to complete these. So, even if you don't have necessarily a ton of energy, you can still get up to this point. And honestly, like if the fragments were here at 1500, I'd easily win this tournament. Obviously, if there's a fusion going on, there might be some other people who are thinking the same thing. So you don't necessarily want to bet on winning every tournament. But early game, it is possible. And so let's say there's the 8 tournaments that would realistically be winnable with the champion training, the dungeons, and the or I'm sorry, 7 tournaments would be winnable if there's 2 arena tournaments and then 1 for each dungeon and then a champion training tournament. So there'd be 5 fragments for each of those regularly. Actually, sometimes the champion training, usually it's 15, I think. 15 fragments. I'll have to double check that. I haven't seen a release for this current one yet, so I don't know how it's going to all break down, but there's always going to be these tournaments. And so you can get 5 fragments for each tournament, and then you can get 5 more by winning each one. So if there's 7, let's say, right? If you were to win 7, that's 35 extra fragments. And then you just got to complete a few of the events. So there's the artifact enhancement events, the champion training event. You just got to get through those. The events can be harder when you're early game because the tournaments will scale a little bit to your level in terms of the expectations for rewards. But the events don't. So the events can be tough, but you can do it. You can do it. You do need extra energy. So I would encourage you, if you want to get one of these legendary champions, start saving energy at least a week ahead of time. So right now, I think that this event is going to start in several days, but you could go ahead and start saving energy and just do your dailies, stash as much energy as you possibly can, save as much energy as you possibly can, and then go all in. Try to win some of these tournaments, right? Hopefully you get lucky and you get a field like this and you're like, well, I got to get to 1500 anyway, so I'm going to get first place. So there's 10 fragments there. And then you're picking up 10 fragments on half the tournaments instead of just the usual 5. And that makes up for not having a lot of shards, right? Because early game, it's hard. You're not beating Nightmare Clan Boss necessarily. You're not getting top chests from Clan Boss that are giving you a ton of great shards. But honestly, even with the handful of shards like this, what I would say is dump all your shards on the Champion Chase tournament. Skip the Summon Rush. Trust that you're going to be able to win enough tournaments to make up the difference that you won't need to do the Summon Rush. Because the Summon Rush is usually a good bit harder. The Champion Chase, it's a little easier because A, you can get lucky, and like if you pull a legendary, that's 500 points. But B, you can use some of these fusions to get extra points. So like if you fuse Justicar, that's 50 points of the Champion Chase tournament. If you were to fuse Relic Keeper, that's 250 points. So what you can do right now is start preparing some of these champions. Let's see, I've got him. Do I? No, I don't think I have these guys. I don't have any of these guys on this account. But if you had all these guys, or even like all these guys here, so I could fuse him and pick up 50 points. You could look at Broadmaw, right? See if you can fuse. So each of the Void rares is 50 points. So if I was to fuse her and him and Justicar, that's 150 points right there. If I get lucky on some of my shard pulls, that's a few points. I think usually it's like 1,500 points is where you have to get to on the Champion Chase tournaments to get the fragments. Maybe sometimes it might go up to 2. Sometimes it might go to 2,500. So I'd say check and see. But even if it is kind of high, you can just start dumping all your mystery shards. So go into your market, buy up all your shards. Even if they're mystery shards, I mean, this is guarantee 1,200 points here in a Champion Chase tournament. Hopefully there's a champion training event going on at the same time, and you can just funnel those in and train up some champions. But even if you can't get the top rewards from the Champion Chase tournament, you can still get the Fragment Champion. I think usually there's 120 fragments available by like just without winning any of the tournaments. So usually you can skip some of the fragments anyways. So usually you can skip the Champion Chase or the Summon Rush if you wanted. Actually, I think sometimes the Summon Rush has 25. But if you're able to win a few tournaments, you can skip even more. So I would just encourage you guys, look at that possibility, go in and just try to win some of those tournaments. Trust that you're going to be able to do it. If you're in level 40 something, maybe even like level 50, you can do it. One thing you can do in Arena is tank your Arena team. Try to actually go lower. You don't necessarily want to go to like Bronze 1, because then you're not getting very many points, and that can be a little tedious. But if you go down to Bronze 4 or early Silver, and you've got an okay team, and you can get back up through the tiers, that can be really helpful, because then you're winning it all, and it speeds it up a lot. And I think with Arena, they put you with more up against people in your Arena tier. So if you're in a lower tier, you're going to have a lesser crowd. All right. So also just to note, go grab some energy from the clan shop. You got 1,000 energy here. The tag team shop, right? Go to the bazaar, grab some energy here. This will help you to build up and stash away energy so that you can win some of those tournaments and start saving now. You could look at grabbing some of these fragments for these champions as well to prepare for the champion chase tournament, because every little bit is going to help. All right. So hope you found this video to be helpful. Hope that this encouraged you to maybe look at pursuing this. So again, I've done another guide on preparing and some of the, kind of breaking down the events a little bit more, so it might be worth referring to that. But just remember, when you're early game, because it's a fragment fusion, it's going to be a little easier for you to win the tournaments early on, and you can pick up a lot of extra fragments that way, so you don't necessarily need to have all the requirements for, like, say, the shards and so forth. Okay, so good luck going for your fragment fusions. Feel free to comment on this. Like, let me know, like, how much energy do you have? Is it going to be worth going for it at that point? You know, I mean, one advantage that I had when I got it on my alt account was I had a lot of energy saved up. I had a couple thousand, I think, saved up. So that enabled me to just go all in on the tournaments and win it. So if you don't have a few thousand energy saved up, I'd say, you know, maybe hold back and look at the next one possibly. But if you do have that saved up, and again, clan shops got it, and we've got CVC coming up, skip CVC, just try and, you know, grab whatever rewards you can by doing things like, you know, faction wars and tag arena and so forth. Pick up as much energy as you can, and you should be able to do fairly well if you're early game. All right, so hope you liked the video. Hope that it's helpful for you and you're able to at least get yourself in a ballpark where you can maybe pick up a few of those fragments and get that champion. Okay, so hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.